There's been one thing missing during this entire YNW Melly trial, and that's a motive for why he killed his two best friends. Now, the prosecutors were really clear with the jurors, and they began to emphasize and emphasize and emphasize we don't need a motive to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Miss Bradley, some of you may recall, during jury selection, going to great lengths to let you know that she does not have to prove motive. And she's right about that. The law doesn't require her to prove motive.
But if you're taking somebody to court for killing two men that they got tatted, that they live with, that they then invested a lot of money in, that he calls best friends, if you're taking him to court for killing those two, there needs to be a motive at least. So we wasn't going to get a motive during this trial, but one of the victims, YNW Juvy's dad, he spoke out and he gave the real reason that he believes that YNW Melly killed his son and his son's best friend, YNW SakChaser.
Chris, why do you think that this happened? Why do you think, Melly did this? Because, Melly is on trial. The state has to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed these crimes. But why do you think this happened?
I think the story about the 200,000 with Anthony was a true story because it's not reported, but Chris told me the same story, and also it was a $500,000 play, and Melly was going to get 200,000, Sak was going to get 200,000, Chris was going to get 100,000, and as I'm hearing it from Chris, they was going to sell the YNW brand, not a record deal or nothing like that. It was like for the brand itself. And by them being founding members, they was going to get a piece of the pie.
Let me explain this real quick before we get back to the video. So YNW is a group. YNW Melly is an individual. So when YNW Melly signed an individual management contract with 100K Track, 100K Track then sought out a record deal for YNW Melly and got him signed as an individual. However, the group still existed. So 100K Track, being real savvy and business-minded, he was going to take the YNW group to a larger conglomerate, get another bag for the group, and have them under a larger conglomerate to where they can have a budget, marketing, and make things a whole lot bigger. Things were in the work and already being lined up to where the YNW deal, they would get a $500,000 advance. And from that advance, because YNW is 3 people, YNW Melly would have gotten 200,000, SakChaser would have gotten 200,000, and then Juvy would have gotten 100,000.
So I don't think Melly did it on his own. I think that manager guy got in his ear and did a little divide and conquer. Because if it was up to Sak, it would never be 100K management.
They were going to sell the YNW name for licensing or to sell products? Or what do you mean they were going to sell the name?
For marketing, licensing, stuff like that. I think they want to go up on the bigger umbrella just to push them, I think. Push the brand more global. That's what I'm thinking.
And so you think that Melly wanted a bigger cut of that then?
I think Melly didn't want to give them guys nothing. He wanted to be the only one to shine. And then they came to town next day and gave the mothers 15,000, the other mother 10,000. So I thought to myself, if Sak was going to get 200,000, Chris was getting 100,000. If we could pay these people 25,000 and keep 275,000, that's how I saw it. It just nothing added up. And Melly still to this day for me to hear him call them boys his best friend is an insult.
But that's not all. He had more to say. But before we get to the additional statements and reasons he gave, and even expounding into some real tea, let's address what he just said. He claims that YNW Melly killed his two best friends because he didn't want to give them 200,000 and 100,000. Now, I'm not saying that's not believable. I'm not saying YNW Melly was the richest guy in the world. But YNW Melly at that time had more than 400,000. I don't believe that YNW Melly, who had a clear path to being a millionaire, will throw his life away over 400,000. I think it had to be much deeper than that. This is why this next reason, or the additional reason that was sort of like what threw things over the iceberg, this is what makes sense. This is what I believe the real reason is, and this is why YNW Melly snapped.
That is an insult.
Was there any sign of bad blood before your son's life was taken and before Anthony was killed? Or was there any tension there that you knew of?
Not with Juvy, not with Chris, but you know, you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about uh disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said like, you know, the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend, and like 2 days later, I think that's when the incident happened.
That right there, that right there is the real story that I believe. And I'll be real, yo. If YNW Melly PR would have came out with this particular story, bro, all the real niggas would have said, "Hey, listen, man. hey, listen, bro. I ain't saying he right, but I ain't saying he wrong either, bro. You knocked my teeth out in front of my girlfriend, bro. Hey, listen, I understand, brother." But they couldn't come out with that, right? Because that would have given the prosecutors motive. But here's the thing, though. You see, somebody as unhinged as YNW Melly, as egotistical, right, as psychotic, as crazy as him, one, it wouldn't take much for him to snap and murder you. But now you're giving him nothing but good reasons to murder you. One, you know, he don't want to really give you the $200,000. He feels as if, you know, y'all don't deserve it because y'all not popping musically. But then you beat him up in front of his girlfriend and he's the star? You knock his gold teeth out and he's the star? YNW Melly was the little homie, right? He was little bro. SakChaser was the enforcer. SakChaser is the one when they went to the studio and got into it with NBA Youngboy. He was the one who popped off first, right? Who put in work. So when YNW Melly always being a low homie, you feel me, right? You know, he's like 5'6", he's short as hell, right? He low bro. Yo, he don't want to be little bro no more. He got millions. He's a star. He's a superstar now. Right? So when you start treating him like little bro, that can sever relationships. Right? But I feel like where it got to a point where it got contentious. To where SakChaser felt as if, yo, I'm still big dog. I'm still the muscle. And if you get out of line, I'm going to put you in line. Melly felt as if, yo, I don't want to be little bro no more. Now, if you guys remember, right, old Block J Hood told the streets that King Von told him that YNW Melly, you know, was being extorted. That YNW Melly told King Von that he was being extorted by those two, and he felt murdering them was the only way out.
I did this strictly because I knew Von was going to see for real. I did it strictly because I knew he was going to see. That's just how I did it. I'm like, man, any that's fucking with a nigga who killed they two homies, man, I can't fuck with them. So Von was mad. He obviously knew I was talking about him. For what the fuck, I think he texts my phone. He hood your bitch ass. You always running your mouth about some shit. Go out the bam. Folks, you know me. Like I don't y'all be scared of niggas. I ain't no better. I'm not finna text back and forth no nigga. I call folks quick to say like, folks, who the fuck is you talking to, nigga? And we started conversing and walked the bam. And long story short was, folks, he said it but not trying to say it. He ended up telling me that yeah, he killed his homies, but he killed them because they was extorting him. Y'all heard what I just said? This nigga did kill his two homies, but he killed his two homies because they was extorting him.
The story aligns up perfectly. Even the father is confirming the details that King Von himself confirmed to somebody else. And everybody who knows the real story, you know, says the exact same story that you guys just heard. So things line up. So it looks like YNW Melly killed his two friends because he felt trapped. He felt as if he was being extorted. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think, all right? It's your boy, Poetic Flacco. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.